Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Well, after the super speedway high-speed affair that was Daytona to kick the season off, it's time to get a little short track action underway early on in the Australian NASCAR Championship. Hello everyone, welcome to round number 2 from Phoenix Raceway. Good Rankin and Bryce Meddings are going to be behind the wheel of your commentary box, but we're not behind the wheel of the racing here tonight, Bryce. That's going to be down to our all-star drivers, and Phoenix is in the desert, it's hot, it's got a funny little stretch on the front straight, which isn't even really a straight either, and it's likely to cause all manner of dramas when these guys get aggressive if we get a couple of late cautions.
Late cautions, you say? I definitely feel like there are going to be late cautions here tonight at Phoenix. Definitely the track to throw a few. Had a few at Daytona, that's expected. Phoenix as well. I think we'll get a couple there. The cars, especially going through the dog leg on worn tyres. I think that's going to be a point of caution later on during some of these runs tonight. But I'm excited for some short track racing. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, short track racing is one of the better affairs. We also have a couple driver swaps to talk you through here tonight, as a couple drivers have exited the championship. That's opened up for positions 31 and 32 to be able to bring themselves in, which is a benefit. Matt Danson's just finishing his qualifying attempt. He'll go to 6th. Is it qualifying has actually been run and done by just about everyone. And after the first round of results, it's going to be an interesting one. What's the track temperature looking like? Well, it's 33 degrees Celsius on that top right-hand corner, 16 kilometers an hour in terms of the wind as well, and just a little after 1 p.m. on March in Phoenix. And the schedule, we were talking about this during production last week, Bryce, but you can cross Daytona off. Here we are at Phoenix for 150 laps here tonight. Next week, well, that's my favourite racetrack, Auto Club. What stands out to you amongst the schedule? Because it's a long one as well. And don't forget, we've got playoffs to contend with in this one.
Absolutely. With regular season, I'd have to say that Auto Club's one of the races I'm looking forward to as well. It's one of my favourite tracks here on the iRacing service. I think Chicago Street's also going to be an interesting track, a very, albeit sort of simple layout-wise, very tricky circuit to nail for 40 laps. They're going to put a lot of stress on the drivers here tonight. A lot of these guys are just used to running ovals, so a road course in the mix is going to be a good one to watch. But I have to say, yeah, Auto Club is going to be the standout race for me this season.
Yeah, high speed and lots of passing. Think what we saw last week at Daytona, but no engine limitations and none of that restricted plate. That's right, qualifying results are in the books. We'll talk to you about the qualifying results in just a few minutes, but in the meantime, this is what the on-track action looks like. We've got Dave Douglas is out there, and he's going to be running laps. I can tell you he's qualified at a 4th position, so a little bit of a return to form for Dave, but that's qualifying pace. And you saw the little slide that he got in cold tyres down through 1 and 2. That is turn 1 and 2, by the way. This backstretch was changed a few years ago, and the ends of the track were actually swapped. Get it all the way to the bottom, rotated off 3 and 4 here, and then keep your eyes on this dogleg. If you're new to Phoenix, if you're new to oval racing, you might be sitting there and thinking, but he's just crossed yellow lines, you can't drive down there. Well, Bryce, talk to us about the uniqueness of the 1.6 kilometre long Phoenix Raceway, 1 mile in length, but it is probably the most unique short track there is.
Yeah, it's an interesting shape. You've got that dog leg, as they like to call it, on the, well, what was once back straight, now the front straight. Just here, so see David cross under that yellow line, use all the runoff in here. That's legal. You can use all of that space to get an advantage. Now, you have to be careful using it. I was mentioning it just before in the race intro that you're going to see a lot of drivers struggle there. If you get that transition wrong, if you don't get it right, especially later on worn tyres, it can kick you around and do some pretty gnarly damage to your car, because that inside barrier, it's not too far away, and you'd be surprised the amount of momentum you can carry back up the banking on the outside there into that outside catch fence. It's quite dangerous. You can also use the inside runoff area down at turns 1 and 2 now, if you're game enough to. Not really something you'll see tonight. You think you'll see drivers keep above that yellow, but you can sneak down under them. I've seen it in both the real life racing and on the service before. So plenty of opportunities to put your car in a 2 or 3 wide scenario, despite it being a short track.
Yeah, and the thing I would say to those of you watching along at home, you might be sitting there and go, well, short track racing, it's generally tight, you're in the confines. Well, Phoenix is the widest of those short tracks, and at times it's probably the widest track we actually have available to us that translates into real life, because there is one track that's wider, and it's the iRacing Super Speedway, previously known as Coca-Cola Raceway. It has the highest banking on the sim. It's not a real track. It was made to really test the limits on some of the older platforms, and the big thing I'm looking at that Nitro car of Dave Douglas and watching a few cars around Bryce, there's a lot of attitude and a lot of sliding coming from the rear end of the car.
Yeah, not really planted. A lot of movement in that rear end, especially on throttle coming out of the corners, seeing it slide around a little bit, maybe struggling for a bit of traction, or they're just setting the car up to be a bit looser so it's a bit quicker. Seems relatively in control through the mid corner as we see Dave Douglas pull into the pit lane behind his teammate. Nice hot entry there. We'll see if he practices this pit stop. It's something we love seeing, is drivers taking the time to work on the small details. Of course, these small details are going to gain you positions later on the race if we get a green flag stop. So we'll see Dave Douglas pull into his box. Now, a couple of neat tricks in the pit lane. You'll see drivers running this inside portion. They'll try and stick as close to this inside line as they can whilst they go around. Just, it's a bit shorter, a little bit less distance. You'll save your time in the pit lane. Nice stop there for Dave Douglas, which I'm out to see some other tracks there. But as I was saying before, you can save time by taking the shorter way through the pit lane. Don't have any real restrictions on that. Got to kind of stay in the transit lane. It's the only real one we have. But other than that, you can transverse pit lane safely. It's also quite an interesting pit entrance as we see someone almost go into the water barriers just down in the corner of the screen. Changed from where it was, I believe, previously on the track. Or the layout of the pit lane has changed.
Yeah, it has as well. The pit lane entry is a lot wider, and a lot of that space that we're looking at right there on the left-hand side of the shot underneath that yellow line generally used for pit lane entry. But the cars like to be on the banking. One of the things I really, really like as well about this place is late night racing, which we might get later on. But that cactus, that glows green when we're under green flag conditions. And guess what? It flashes yellow when we're under caution. It is so cool to watch. And it's one of the things that if you're a little bit bored, or you might have some ADHD, as you and I both definitely have, you look for things to look at, and the cactus always sticks out. It's one of the unique features of Phoenix Raceway. Righto, it's time to get through our qualifying order, and who has managed to put a surprise down. Once again, BBS Esports have managed to take 2 from 2 in terms of pole positions. Ethan Winter is going to line up off of the inside front row. He'll be the control car when we roll off here. Brad Newman was only 0.03 of a second further back, and he will be on that front row alongside of him. Zach Kerr and Dave Douglas. We're talking about Dave Douglas having that 4th spot. He will be on the outside of Zach Kerr. Lachlan Mead will be the second of the BBS cars, and Danson only able to qualify Dick's best, nearly a 10th and a half off the pace. A driver that's a touch closer than that is Lewis Greathead, who, remember, won that Daytona Thriller. Now he'll be lining up alongside a teammate Wayne Burke out of 7th and 8th. Stevie Williams and Sam Chapman will be 9th and 10th, 0.3 of a second back for both of those drivers. Outside of the 10 is going to be Josh Mickelmore and Dan McKenzie. It's a little deeper in the field than I certainly would have expected from Mickelmore. He'll have some work to do here tonight. Brenton West and Shane Bowen outside of your top 10 as well. Alex Sheridan, Grant Matterford, one of the new entries into the series is Grant Matterford. He's managed to find his way in. Jamie Ritchie-Price and Jared Farrell out of 17th and 18th. Tom Freya is the second of the drivers that's been brought into the series here tonight. Good to see him. He's had a shocking run in V8 supercars of late. A lot of pedal failures, which we'll talk about across the duration here tonight. The lineup alongside of Sam Smith, who did not have a good race last time out at Daytona. Fitzroy Beaumont and Tyler Williams, Henry King and Jason Holdsworth coming from the rear of the field. Those will be intentional times laid down by them to start at the back. Final driver will be Aaron Gilbert. Nigel Seagul's in here as a spectator. That is our series admin that's on hand. We're just managing a few bits and bobs. Righto, ladies and gents, that is everything in terms of our qualifying order. Safety car already down, and it's a long, long run after the safety car pulls off. Here we go, down into 3 and 4. Winter will have control. Newman's going to be on the outside. We saw the Newman effect in operation last week. How long before that kicks in again this week? Green flags in the air. Didn't take long at all. Here we go. They'll get aggressive. Who's going to be the first to dive to the dogleg? It's the 12 machine that's going to dive all the way down there. Zach Kerr got a great getaway. He gets to the inside of Ethan Winter for that front row. This might be an opportunity for Brad Newman just to settle on the tyres a little bit. Might try and cool them down. Cold tyres, low tyre pressures. And the car just about bottoming out. Oh, there's a little bit more contact. Kerr slides it down the back straight away. They'll try and slot in. Winter steals the lead back, puts it on pole, dived it deep down into 3 and 4 as well. That's heating those front tyres. But for the meantime, he's got an advantage. The field survives lap 1.
Absolutely hectic start to this race, Scotty, and it's still kicking off as we race down into turns 1 and 2. 19 and 12 going sticks and stones at each other. Brad Newman able to capitalise on their battle down the dogleg. Just holds on to that second position, so no change for the front row at this point in time. Looking to have some spice thrown around. And Dave Douglas fell back a position on that opening lap. Not unexpected, starting the outside there, just not able to get as clean of a run. We already have a bit of lap traffic down in 1 and 2, so I think there's been some issues here for the number 7 car. As we see him about to go a lap down, only a couple laps into this race. So not the world's greatest start.
Yeah, so a few drivers dropping towards the tail end of the field. Fitzroy Beaumont was among those as well. So as they start to fall off a little bit towards the back. The tricky part here was Beaumont actually might have started from pit lane or jumped the start or something, because he is a long, long way down and he's actually at risk. That's him just in front of the shot of the race leaders. So the pink car, keeping the eye on the 39 machine of Ethan Winter, the BBS Motorsports car, off of pole position, that currently leads the way, is affected by dirty air, and that is not something you can say very early on in a race.
Not at all. It does throw a bit of a wrench into Ethan's plans to have a nice clean start to this race. I don't think it's going to hurt him overall too much. I think he's got enough skill here to deal with the dirty air. It just doesn't make it as pleasant when you've got the number 1 car there behind of Brad Newman. Breathing down your neck. We've seen the Brad Newman effect, and you touched on it at the start of this race he had at Daytona. Caused quite a spectacular bit of highlights, which you can see on the Australian NASCAR E-Series channel. We have race highlights coming out. More in-depth highlights coming out soon. If all things go well, and I finish doing the editing for them. But
There's a lot of things that go on, Bryce, when you talk about the psychology of car racing. And well, if you're around a more aggressive driver, you're going to cover it off. You're going to do things bits differently, and therein is where the aggressive driver starts to get the win. Because the instant you start thinking about him, you have not got the eyes forward, and that will play a part for sure. In the meantime, you can just see Winter is starting to ail a little bit. Newman was settling on those tyres. Maybe not the most outright pace. And the difficulty he's got at the moment is Beaumont's right there. They need to pick Beaumont off, and Beaumont wants to stay on the lead lap. So this is a unique little situation to kick this one off. Finally gets to the inside as Ethan Winter. Now he'll get the benefit of having the fresh air. And now Brad Newman nearly gets them banging on the door, and this is the view that Zach Kerr's got. Beaumont's going to tag the wall off for 2.
it
might be a lap car, but that doesn't mean that he's obliged to get out of the way.
Not at all. For those new to the oval racing scene, lap cars can fight for their lap back on the first lap down. He can fight for these positions back. So if you want to start working his way back through, it's more than welcome to, in accordance with the rules. Does not have to concede. Now he's in a bit of a unique position where he's a couple of cars back. If he can hold where he is, he can sit, save tyre, maybe save a little bit of fuel, get a little bit of draft down the back straight. Not going to get too much, but you might be able to save a little bit here and there.
Tell you what, Dave Douglas is starting to get close to Lachlan Mead. You see that bright green car. We have a go at the moment. And Beaumont runs a long way up the banking in 1 and 2. Very distinct styles of corners as well. Mead gets to the inside. Beaumont's just, he's out of line, he's out of sequence. They nearly lean on each other as well. I do not know what the issue was for Fitzroy Beaumont. He might have gotten a black flag for passing before the start-finish line. And that might have triggered him to come for a trundle down pit lane because was it the end of lap 1? Not the start.
It's always interesting when drivers get the black flag early, just not paying attention, you're just not timing it right, just making a small mistake. It's such a massive consequence on the rest of your race from here because he's a lap down and he's going to fall further through this field. He'll stagnate at where he probably should be.
Battle on for our race lead at this point in time. Ethan Winter and Brad Newman are going to go toe-to-toe. And Newman gets to the inside. Winter's defending from the top, does so successfully. Newman had to chop the momentum there. And, well, Winter starts to pull away just a little bit more.
Yeah, that he will. It's interesting to see them fighting at this point. We've got another battle further back between the 6 and the 89. Both teammates probably not racing each other too hard here, Wayne Burke and Lewis Greyhead. They might door each other here and there, but we've got some dooring happening between the 19 and the 10. Dave Douglas scrubbed a lot of speed there in that battle with the 19. Exposes himself back to Fitzroy Beaumont and, more importantly, Matt Danson, who's going to dart down the inside of the 16 here into turns 1 and 2. Should get this move done on the exit. He'll get pinched down, won't be able to open the throttle up as much as he would like to. Stalls his momentum. They're side by side down into 3. Danson will clear and he will maintain, get that position off the lap car. So not a pass for position, but a pass to give him access to the number 10 of Dave Douglas, who's just off in front of him.
Having a quick read. I was actually just doing some research. I wanted to know a little bit more. For those of you who don't know, they're actually, it depends what series. I know the NASCAR Truck Series actually doesn't vary their packages all that much. But effectively, depending upon the size of the track, they actually have different aero packages. They can have a short track package, an intermediate package, which will be 1.5 and 2 mile racetracks. And then a super speedway package. And it's not as cut and dry as that, as again, Newman gets to the inside. They will actually touch this time off of 2 with Ethan Winter. But I was just looking for a little bit more details, and now there is going to be a touch for Winter, who's going to drift a long, long way up the banking. By the way, Dave Douglas has finally got that job done, and Lachlan Mead in the background as well. So Newman finally gets the job done. Now he's vulnerable to Zach Kerr, who's come a long way forward and is running with these guys as well. So it is all on here. It is all on like you wouldn't believe.
Just further behind them, you got Douglas and Mead fighting. Now Danson's there, got to get a bit of a big squirrely block, not even intentional, I'd say, from the 19 down the back. Was it?
That was 100% intentional. So Danson got the run because he was trying to fight Douglas up ahead. Danson absolutely got the run, and Mead said, well, I'm not going to give it to you easy. I'm going to run you down a little bit, and then recognized that Danson had got underneath him. Now Danson's to the heights. Look at how deep Lachlan Mead is sent into the corner. Danson's going to rotate it and turn it back down underneath him. How about that for a crisscross? Something you'd normally see on the bigger ovals. And Danson's pulling out all the stops. He's going to try and park it to the inside. A little bit of help as Mead gets a touch too wide on the entry. He'll tag the wall, lose some momentum, and finally Danson will get that job done. That has allowed Dave Douglas to just scoot off to the tune of 7/10. That's how much that one meant to him. And Ethan Winter, whilst he's held the race lead for that opening stanza of the race, now Newman has control. And now it's going to be about running him back down again.
Absolutely. It's a bit of a struggle there for Lachlan Mead. Lost out to Dave Douglas, and as he's fighting Danson, tags the wall, loses the momentum. Another spot lost. Has the speed to stick with Danson here, so I'll say he'll become a factor in this battle for third, or battle for fourth really at the moment. Not too much more time. Further behind, we got Micklemore. Speak of the Nitro cars, and you'll find another one on your screen. They're going past Fitzroy Beaumont now. So Fitzroy Beaumont is our lapped car here in the pack. So it's Micklemore who is in 9th. He's under threat from Stephen Williams as his momentum got chopped off there by Fitzroy. Didn't door. Good control there from Stevie not to extend out and just go into the door of Micklemore. Definitely could have happened. It does relinquish a chance of getting that 9th position because of it. But at the moment, just being held up by the lap car.
So, give you a little bit more information. Remember how I said there's a couple of different aero packages? I've got some details for you. Hang on, we're going to have to keep an eye on this one. Is Brenton West and Darren McKenzie go side by side on the run through 3 and 4. Drive off the higher side. So the big feature of the Xfinity cars, and probably why they vibe quite strongly with the Australian community as well, is that they're all about simplification. What we want is we want more horsepower, less grip, and less aero. And that is basically the design philosophy of the Xfinity car. Definitely needs some aero, but they are generally considered the fastest in a straight line of the 3 series, just because of that lack of drag, because of the lack of aerodynamic on them. But that's not to say they don't have any aero. So this package that you're seeing on your screen here, that black you can see off the back end of the 31 Nitro car of Micklemore at the moment, just above the back of the car. That is the rear spoiler, 3 inches worth of rear spoiler. And the short track package gets a simplified rear diffuser, so the underside of the car. And it gets less aero body work up and around the engine panel as well. All designed to create less downforce, make the car move around a little bit more. And that from a car that already does move around quite a fair bit. And Micklemore will be finally able to defend off Stevie Williams and gives himself a shot to go after Fitzroy Beaumont.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame to see Fitzroy a lap down already when he's able to hang on this well with some of the faster drivers here in the series. Would love to have seen where he could have gone from where he started. Unfortunately, tonight's a bit more of a recovery drive than he was hoping for. So just out there, get points, see what happens. A caution comes out, he's right back in this race at this point. He's the only car a lap down. But definitely not the way you want to start a race. We're 25 laps in, 125 left to run. Darren McKenzie getting his nose through.
So, a little bit more of an update about the differences in between the cars. Xfinity cars are about 11 inches longer. Multiply that by 12 and that'll give you, so it'll be about 120 centimeters longer or so. A little bit more than that. I think it's what, 132 centimeters longer. Than the Cup Series cars, which is probably why the Cup Series cars feel a little bit more agile. These things feel a little bit boaty, and you sort of steer them with the right foot a lot more.
Yeah, I have to ask you on your math there. It's got 132 centimeters. Are they a meter longer than the Xfinity car?
Yes.
Than the next gen car? That's insane. That's an insane length difference between those two cars. Didn't think it was that large.
Yeah, that's certainly longer. Like I said, less aero, or at least a significantly more simplified aero package. The current Cup Series car has a lot of Venturi tunnels and things going on underneath it, and probably is one of the elements that takes away from some of the racing. There was a lot of work last year to simplify NASCAR's aero package for the Cup Series, particularly at short tracks, actually, because the cars were just too glued to the road. So that once you got in the lead, that was sort of it. It's just single file for the rest of the day.
Definitely not single file racing here. We've seen plenty of 2x2 action. No 3x3, or not 3 wide action yet, but I'm going to pull past some of these drivers to try and send it 3 wide later in the races. We see the 34 of, I'm going to say Taylor Williams, and Brenton West go at it here. Sometimes I forget Tyler Williams has changed he's number 34 here in the ANC series. He's running my old number 6 in the X series and the Truck series now, as I forfeited it, not racing much this season. I will be back behind the wheel hopefully soon, but he's got my number now. Now I have to go figure out how to race the number 13 around and not crash.
Impossible. Unlucky.
Yep. It's a cursed number.
By the way, I just had a message sneak its way through to my inbox as well. I'm getting some outside assistance on this one. 85 laps is about the fuel range that we're sort of looking at. Or the tyre range is what we're hearing. And our producer wants to hear about people talking to us on YouTube, but you know, a little bit of subtleness. And the benefit of it is that people don't know where it's coming from, and I do, and that means I can sit here and I can keep that information to my chest. And the reason it's been sent to me that way is so that anyone listening into the stream doesn't get a major benefit. But yes, 85 laps approximately. Well, never mind, and that's now being uncovered.
It's now been uncovered, but let's be honest here, Scotty. Every one of these drivers is going to figure out when they're going to pit ahead of schedule. They're going to know what the fuel is going to look like. They're going to know if they can save for a few more laps. So really, 85 laps is not it shouldn't be a surprise to any of these drivers here tonight.
I'll probably all about have that same thought in the back of their heads as well, so I wouldn't be too surprised about that one. But for the meantime, teammates changing their lineup. These are the two cars that finished first and second, and the other way around. Wayne Burke finished second to Lewis Greathead last week from Daytona. Greathead already locked into the postseason for season number 1 of the Australian NASCAR Championships, and he spoke about that last week, that his head was going to be up focusing down the road. Wayne Burke, though, has been on a roll in just about everything of late. And the reason for that is that he nearly won himself. In fact, he finished across the finish line first in Logitech Pro Invitational race. However, post-race penalty saw him robbed of his win in the end into the main game for that series. And for the Melbourne native, quite a few drivers from Melbourne as well. I believe Matt Danson's also a Melbourneite, who is a couple of spots further down the road. Lachlan Mead's starting to play on his tyres, so he's starting to fade back. So remember, he was running up there with Dave Douglas. There's quite a few teams that were pushing on quite early on their tyres, Bryce, that are starting to fade. And I just wonder how long Ethan Winter's going to be able to hold off Dave Douglas, because Douglas is coming at him a little bit.
Guys, we see the 89 have a look to the outside of the 19 here down the back straight. 19 going to go in just, never mind, I was going to say just enough room. Didn't stay that way all the way out into corner exit. The 89 has to check up. Lots more speed here from the 89 mid-corner. You can just see how much the 19's struggling for grip, getting that car slowed down, getting it to a point where it's not going to get squirrely on the outside. 89 looking down the inside into turns 1 and 2.
Lachlan Mead is absolutely sending it into the corners, and that was part of the reason. Remember when he was fighting Matt Danson as well? He was sending it in very, very deep and washing up. So these guys are going to continue their battling, and it's part of the reason why they've fallen a long way off. Zach Kerr's managed to reasonably stay with Brad Newman, so he'll be doing quite well. Last lap times on the board, Kerr was actually the fastest car out on track, so he took 200ths of a second out of Brad Newman, but at the moment, everyone will be looking long term. We are 38 laps in the book at the conclusion of this one, so coming up very close to the halfway mark on the fuel stints.
Yeah, I think you'll see drivers settling down, trying to play the long game from here on out. And the longer this run goes on, the more and more likely you're going to get a caution born from this dogleg. All it takes, momentary lapse in concentration and a little bit of wrong steering angle when you cross that banking change and you're off into the weeds, spun around this way and that. We see Micklemore losing a position here to Stephen Williams. He'll fight it back down into turn 3, so he'll get that low line, but Stevie's got him clear by the mid corner. Should have the run out on the high line now opens up Micklemore to attack from the 0-2 car, who's going to take aggressive to the dog leg, try and see if he can get a run down in turns 1 and 2. Not quite this lap. He'll have to build for the next.
And Josh Micklemore tends to do quite well in the truck series. I'm just wondering whether or not the Xfinity series might be the cars that he tends to struggle a touch more in. And D-Mac, Darren McKenzie is going to trigger contact. That might be our first caution of the night. Both drivers are going to save it, get to the apron, and keep rolling. But that's going to drop a whole bunch of spots for a number of those cars as well.
Yeah, that's not what you wanted to see if you're a fan of Darren McKenzie or Josh Micklemore.
Well, it's now fallen a long, long way back for both of those drivers. It just didn't need to be done. There wasn't really an in there for McKenzie, and was getting a little bit frustrated.
Almost tagging there of Jamie Ritchie Price as well. So Darren McKenzie driving a bit frustrated now after that contact.
So just having a look at a little bit of a replay here. That's McKenzie gets the inside of Micklemore. Micklemore's left him a whole bunch of room, but McKenzie's just got no grip on that front axle. Sent it a bit deep to try and get down the inside. Couldn't quite get the car pulled up. They'll both lose spots there, but could have been a lot worse. And in fact, it didn't even trigger a caution, so it's actually not gone too bad.
As far as outcomes that could have resulted in, that was probably the best one, where they both were just losing spots and then were able to recover. Brad Newman, Matt Danson and Dave Douglas now are going at it. Turns 3 and 4 coming down the main straight. Dogleg here. Danson elects to take it. Douglas stays on the racing surface. Well, they're both on the racing surface. He just stays above the yellow line. Danson's going to clear him through 3 and 4. Going to block the momentum here on Dave Douglas. That's how you do it. Going to get that position down the back straight. Open chance here for Dave. Doesn't take it. Slots in behind. See if he can get an opportunity in another couple of laps. Or if he just wants to play the long game here and use whatever tyres he's got left to get him to a better position later on in this race.
And for the meantime, Tenzon's got the job done. Look at the difference in the lines as well. Danson entering quite high. He was happy for Dave Douglas. If Douglas wanted to send it in underneath him, look, have it. I'll defend from the top. I'll get the run down the back straight away. I'll clear you off again. Not even getting to the bottom of the racetrack as well. So he's running a lot higher on the track. But drive off, a little bit of a wiggle. This battle pack's quite interesting as well. And again, we're just watching the free fall of Fitzroy Beaumont back through the field.
Yeah, he's fallen off quite a bit. He's got his 2 teammates here behind, so I don't think he'd want to be starting to, get them all sorts of messed up and impact their race. Sam Chapman, the next Vermilion car to try and make a pass. Got the 2 Nitro cars there. Jason Holdsworth, we haven't talked about him much tonight. Made some steady progress throughout the field, up 7 places currently. It looks like he's saving his tyres and going for that long run. Josh Micklemore electing to use the dogleg. You can see, interesting, even between drivers who are on the same setup.
Yeah, Micklemore, he called it Bryce, used the dogleg, got down to the inside, got underneath Farrell and completed the pass on the way into 1 and 2.
Absolutely, 65 offered no defense there into 1 and 2. Probably just happy to be running his own race at the moment, staying out of trouble. The 8's going to have his chance up next.
And that'll give you a little bit of a view towards the field spread as well. Because at the moment, Newman's about halfway through 3 and 4, comes off a 4, and this battle pack is 15th, 13th on through to 17th. So they're about half the track behind at the moment.
Newman's also got lapped traffic just in front of him as well. You can see on the track map as they come down the back straight, he'll have some dirty air in front of him. 2 cars, 03 and the 79 of Grant Matterford. New to the series, of course, after Dyson and T. Williams departed. So, having a good night here so far for Earth's Race. It's probably not the friendliest track to come in as your first race in a highly competitive series. So definitely needs a bit of practice time and only being notified a week or so in advance.
they'd have had the opportunity last season, Bryce, to run along a lot of these guys, and Aaron Gilbert starts to top the nose. Gilbert was impacted in one of those wrecks last week, or sorry, 2 weeks ago as well. So he'd be looking just to make sure that he can finish and get some points on the board. Will be a big help to him.
Absolutely, under no obligation to let Newman through, although I don't think Newman's going to take too long. Looks like Gilbert gives him plenty of space there on the outside, just completely gets out of the throttle, doesn't make a challenge.
Half a second faster on that last lap than he was, and about the same, 0.4 of a second, so faster than Grant Matterford, who's just ahead, so he will continue to challenge through the traffic. And that changes the script as well for Fitzroy Beaumont. Although for Beaumont, he is starting to rip time out of these guys, so the tyre life on that 16 Ford Mustang is quite good. Newman's now going to clear all the traffic as well, moves back to the point.
So just looking at the 34 of Tyler J. Williams here, he's up 12 positions. He's currently the driver with the most positions gained on the circuit here tonight. You see him go through turns 3 and 4 coming to that cactus for the start-finish line. He'll cut the dog leg here as well. You see the car bobble there as it goes through, and that's what I'm saying. You hit that with the wrong steering angle, Scotty, and you're going around.
Yeah, well, it's more sensitive on the next-gen cars, isn't it? The Cup Series. With the stiffer suspension, these things are a lot softer, so it's not as bad, but you're 100% right. Particularly as the tyre ages, tyre gets hot as well. Doesn't tend to like it.
Absolutely, especially with the next-gen cars, because you've got all the aerodynamic elements underneath the car as well that get unsettled when you have any sort of banking change, just because it unstick it.
In the meantime, just keeping an eye on Stevie Williams, who's caught up to the rear end of Lewis Greathead, and Wayne Burke's not been able to get that job done on Lachlan Mead at all as well. And then there's this little battle between the number 8 machine. And Jason Holmesworth has caught Shane Bowen's 38. And Darren McKenzie's just in behind these guys as well, so his recovery effort.
I have to say, it looks like a really good drive here for Shane Bowen. Definitely two drivers you'd say would have a fair bit of a skill gap between them when Shane started racing with us in the Australian NASCAR. He's got a yellow here tonight.
And 25th spot is Henry King, has gone 2 laps down, had an issue. And he is actually just out of the pits. He just pit. So on cold tyres, goes around off a 3 and 4. Self-spin. No other car impacted, but will trigger a caution. And the difficult thing from here, Bryce, is that we are now 135 or so laps to the end of the... sorry, my apologies. About 95 laps to the end of the race. That was the rear end of the car coming around for Henry King. And he just pit at the end of lap 52. So that was the first time he went down into 3 and 4.
Yeah, those tyres are chocked. And we got everyone looking to make their way down. A couple of drivers looking to get a wave by here, 79 and a 03. Both cars are lapped down. They'll like to stay out. Same with the 52. He obviously just pitted, so he's going to try and get that wave by. Same with Fitzroy Beaumont staying out as well. Everyone else looking to pit here. So I think that answers our question on strategy. Here's what I was talking about earlier as well. You see the 12 using that inside, as much of that inside run to get an advantage through the pit lane transit times here. Position gain through the pit lane will stand, so if Zach Kerr can get out ahead of Newman, who'll lead this race to green. See drivers, they're taking a change of tyres here. Definitely the play. Daytona, you didn't have to change it. Do here, so you're going to see Zach Kerr, he's going to beat Newman out of the pit lane using that little trick that I was talking about before.
So that's a curious one. I do wonder. I'm just going to take a quick look at my rule book.
At the rule book, yes.
Yeah.
I'm also on it as well, just consulting that one as well, because I feel like there's nothing against it from my memory. There's a asterisk on this pit lane transit trick. You can use it if it's illegal.
If it's an
legal.
officials, there is no penalty for it. Stevie Williams must have missed a pit stop the first time by. He's coming back down
Or he got a penalty.
once more.
No, you can only serve penalties under green, so he definitely missed his stall. Or messed up his pit stop in some way, didn't take enough fuels or didn't take tyres. So we see the 79 trundle out of pit lane rather slowly. 98's going to pull into his box. So he'll get pushed to the back. Maybe it's a tactical decision from Stevie to
So I'm going to read you the section that talks about pits here. Caution pitting. And this is for everyone. Enter pit road single file in far right acceleration lane. Staggering is permitted on the initial entry. No pulling up next to another car to gain an advantage. Violations must be contested. So it's not necessarily covered, and I would say that's okay.
Well, he was also alongside Newman. So you could argue that him running the shorter line on the inside is violating it there. So it's an interesting interpretation. We'll have to see how the review panel and the stewards look at it. Could be there.
And
green flag.
We're back on the green flag once again as they fire it off. And, well, it was that Kerr who was shadowing Newman in that first run. A little bit of clear air here. What can he do? By the way, an update. Something happened to Ethan Winter. Picked himself up a black flag. So our pole sitter, who is running quite well, has got to come for a transition through the pit lane. I have a feeling this might be a stop and hold because NASCAR doesn't tend to give drive-through pit lane penalties. It's not admin issued. That is an infringement based upon iRacing. So, not 100% certain what it was, but he lost spots through that pit cycle as well. Restarted in 6th. He's fired it into the pit lane. The rest of the field, though, Kerr has now got a little bit of an advantage. Matt Danson's also made ground. He's up to 2nd spot. Newman slid back to 3rd. And Dave Douglas is now getting harassed by Lachlan Mead. He had a lot of problems getting past Mead on that first run. He needs to try and get this spot early. It's worth burning up a little bit of tyre because he'll be able to save it, not having to fight Mead for a long run. And the other thing I was thinking in the background of my mind, Bryce, was I think this track looked a little bit tight. There wasn't a lot of looseness from a lot of these drivers. I wonder if a few of these boys have had to swing it, free the car up a little.
I feel like it would be a good shout to make going down the pit lane. If you're experienced a tight car, it's not the fun. It's not fun. I personally hate having a tight race car. I like it a bit more free at the rear.
Hey,
that's a bit too free.
The 19, as Lachlan Mead sat the right rear on a seam off of 4, and the car did not like that one bit. He'll go around, he'll go to the rear, and he was having a strong run. Winter's going to get back out in the pit lane. And, by the way, we're now under 90 to go. What was that number we were talking about? 85?
85, yeah.
So I just wonder whether or not that's a fuel marker. Because if it is a fuel marker and 85 is the furthest you can go on fuel, we are a touch shy of that and you will see some pitters. And the big key, if we can go back to the start of that replay when we can, is have a look at where his right rear is on the halfway point through this corner. And this shot's probably not going to tell us. It's probably going to cut away. But watch this. It's our left, his right. Look at that seam. Sits on the seam, and that's where the car goes.
It needs to stay under that. Otherwise, exactly as we see here, bit of slide. It's a bit too loose. It's funny, as I was saying that, I like a loose car. That one, that was a bit too loose.
Cold tires?
Setup related. Cold tires and sitting on a seam.
Well, here comes the split of the strategy. How about this? The guys at the front want track position. They're thinking we might get a couple more cautions. I cannot afford to give up track position. The guys at the rear, well, if it's an 85 lap run, we are 2 laps away. We're 2 laps away. It'll become 1 lap away as they cross the start finish line. So they are filling up effectively 1 lap shy. They can absolutely say that. The guys at the front, though, not necessarily. It'll certainly be available to them, but it will be a lot tougher. Those couple of laps on the green and the caution laps will be enough to put them in a little bit of a hole. The problem will be, can you make something out of that?
That is the $1 million question right now, Scotty. I think we just saw Fitzroy Beaumont just getting released with the lucky dog as well. So back on the lead lap for Fitzroy Beaumont. Has spent 65 laps of this race, a lap down. Something happened at the start, had to make his way down pit lane for what appears to have been a penalty. and now he's back free to go racing. So he'll be on a different strategy than the guys who have just hit the box if he doesn't come down this time. But whilst they're hitting the pit boxes, you should hit the like and subscribe buttons here at the Australian NASCAR series. We do post highlights of our series. We also stream Tuesday and Thursday nights for our X series and our truck series live on Facebook as well, if you prefer to watch over there. But we've got pace car lights out, Scotty. We're going to be going racing at the end of this lap. How are we feeling approaching the halfway mark of this race?
Oh, we aren't to the halfway mark, but we are past the third mark. Probably time to talk about the guys who are off the lead lap, and we'll talk through a couple of them as we see once more the schedule. We'll be going green at the end of this back straight. Guys off the lead lap, Henry King. Remember, he took the wave by. He's got himself back to 1 lap down and got that free pit stop as well. So he is now back corrected on strategy. Jason Holdsworth, unfortunately, just drops out of the server. And Ethan Winter and Grant Manafort both at 2 down. Remember, Ethan Winter had that penalty, and he's had to come from the rear. He's now at 2 down. It'll be quite difficult for him to get that one back, which will be unfortunate for him. Some sort of pit lane infringement. Green flag back in the air. And the outside lane didn't get that jump. Remember, Danson was in front of Newman. Well, not this time. Newman restarted out of third, second in line on that inside.
Yellow flag is out.
And caution's out for more trouble at the back. So we'll get another car back to the lead lap. And that might just put everyone back where they needed to be. Aaron Gilbert's got damage.
Grant Manafort around as well. Looks like Shane Bowen slowed up as well. Gonna have to see what happens here. Down the dog leg. Looks like it all kicks off in front of him. Into turns 1 and 2. Dives in. There it is. That's Shane Bowen. Oh, 3 cars hard into the fence. Ethan Winter.
So it's kicked off where the 38 is.
Just give it a bit more rear damage to that. Yeah, but Shane Bowen. Cobalt Racing teammates. Nose to tail. What's happened here? Come through. Oh, he's got a tag from the 03. Down on the bottom, who then goes up into the 19. 19, wholly unaffected. Doesn't register any real contact there, just gets pushed to the outside line, and that's it. He'll pick up a iRacing incident point there for 4X contact. That's better. Let's see what it looks like from Aaron Gilbert's perspective. You see the 38 there, and Rick Water tap, up, bang, door. Some good avoidance from the cars behind. Unfortunately, a couple affected. We'll see more people break down the pit lane. This is it. This will be the final stop if the race goes green for these drivers. Sam Smith down the pit lane. We've got the 7 involved. 38 picking up some damage repair. The 16 Fitzroy Beaumont's gone in. 03 as well. There'll be damage repairs for the 03 and the 38. Hopefully not too much damage to fix on those cars. And third caution of the night. One after the other. Really, I'd say this is unexpected. Cautions do like to breed cautions, especially when we're running out here cold tires from the stops. Everyone's pushing hard to get positions. Definitely not out of scope. I think we'll see maybe another 1 or 2 cautions very similar to this throughout the rest of the night. I don't think we're going to go green for the rest of this race.
Well, we're about 6-7 laps away from hitting the halfway mark too, so it'll become 6 laps as they pass the start-finish line. And they will form up back to 2 wide. The driver that got some assistance there to get back to 1 lap down. Actually, Henry King. Remember, he was 1 lap down, so he was involved in that incident. And Fitzroy Beaumont was in it as well, so he's gone to 1 lap down. That car is heavily impacted, so that might be the end of his night. And well, Henry King must have been the beneficiary of the lucky dog, because he's back to 1 lap down.
I think he was 1 lap down at the last caution. He definitely made contact there whilst he's trying to avoid a sort of 52 involved. Pace car's off, going green in just a short moment's time. A bit of a communication error at the back of the field by the looks of things as they come around to the Geico restart zone. Ethan Winter has control of the field, starts early in the zone. You're going to see this outside line be very exposed to the inside. Greathead's going to make a move on Newman down the dog leg. Going to run him all the way down to that inside barrier. Make sure his life is... it's Greathead.
Yeah, that's Wayne Burke.
No, it's Wayne Burke, sorry.
Who's jumped to the inside of Brad Newman. So he's going to try and have a go at him. Zach Kerr, unopposed, out and in the lead. Can't quite get the drive as Wayne Burke. He'll slot back into third. The loser out of that entire situation is Danson. Caution out at the rear end of the field again. So cautions breed cautions, and I get the feeling that will put us into the realm of everyone will make it on fuel. The 19 car. One incident for Lachlan Mead. Just couldn't get the rears underneath him on a restart. Went to the rear, and once you're back there, it is a scramble fest to get out. Have a look at it. 3 wide. He's been running single file most of the night. One issue. Goes to the rear, looks for a hole, can't find it. And it's not even his fault. It's the 05 coming off the wall. Is that Aaron Gilbert?
Yeah, that's rough. Not anything you could do there if you're mid. Aaron Gilbert, no. 05. Alex Sheridan in the 05 just hits the wall, bounces off, perfect tag on the right rear quarter, sorry, of the 19. You'll see it here, bonk, bang. So unassuming. Doesn't look like he's come off it that hard, but you're playing very, very small margins. Matt Danson electing to jump down the pit lane.
That's a
one
big
thing.
call.
Lewis Greathead also electing to come down pit road. Tembo 05, Alex Sheridan's down. Yeah, lots of drivers here. Mead's in, Smith's in, Bowen's in, Williams in. A lot of the fields in. Farrell, Gilbert, Bowen.
I reckon I might have just found the reason why. Remember how we were saying Ethan Winter had a black flag? I was just watching the pit stop from Matt Danson. As he rejoined the racetrack, he had to stop because the pit lane exit wasn't open. I reckon that's where Ethan Winter's black flag came from.
Oh, yeah, that would... As the field's coming by, the pit lane's closed. It hangs here for a bit.
Because pit lane here is so short compared to the race surface. And remember, Ethan Winter, it was Ethan Winter back onto that first caution that he went 2 laps down. And Danson just caught himself. So, no, this is a replay, different thing. But remember from the first caution, I said Ethan Winter said he had a black flag and he wasn't 100% sure why. Guarantee you, because he had the pole position stall. He got the stall closest to the end of pit lane. He surged out of the lane, and the exit wasn't open.
Yeah, that would make sense. That's definitely a slam dunk iRacing black flag if I've ever seen one. It's going to be interesting here again. Brad Newman on the outside going to have to defend once more from Wayne Burke. So we saw Burke give him a good run.
I'll change that, actually. I was just thinking about it. He can't have been because he wasn't the first car off a pit lane. In which means everyone that was ahead of him would have gotten black flag. But anyway,
so
anyway, it is what it is. I'll keep thinking about that one because that one's got me stumped.
Pit lane speed, maybe.
Anything could be anything. Anyway, whatever it was, he's trapped 2 laps down. Not at the moment. There is no car at 1 lap down. Field's trying to get themselves organised as we come back to green flag. On the run down, you can see the cars at the back are still trying to get themselves sorted in their correct orders. And we're going to hit the zone. Green flag is in the air. We'll go back racing once again. We've had quite a few cautions back to back. The drivers will be antsy to get back to green flag racing. We're now at the end of this lap, halfway home. But we've got to get there yet. And the first driver on fresh tyres at the moment will be Matt Danson. He sits 8th on the road. He looks to the inside of Darren McKenzie on this restart in the middle of the pack. Keep your eyes on the number 30 Altus Engineering car. McKenzie's on the inside just ahead of him. Stevie Williams to the outside. And he's going to see if he can't make this fresh rubber work.
Definitely going to be interesting to watch Danson as he cuts through these older tyre guys. And a lot of these guys will have been running on slightly lighter tanks because they were pitted earlier. So their fuel load's going to be less. So he's going to have a bit more fuel on board. See how that impacts the handling characteristics of the cars. You see the top 5, they're all pitted on lap 87. McKenzie and Williams were on a slightly different stop. And then you've got Danson, Williams, and Farrell rounding out the top 10 who all pitted under that most recent caution. So you'll have to see. It's going to be a bit hard to get through past Stephen Williams here. As I say that, he looks to have cleared him by the mid-corner. Stephen's still hanging around. He's gone now. Not able to get there. Brad Newman move for the lead here on Zach Kerr. They're going to fight door to door down through turns 3 and 4. Holding there is Zach Kerr. Holds the outside. Gets a little bit loose. Manages to check the momentum up so he doesn't tag Newman on the exit. But that's going to be the race lead to Brad Newman again here tonight, Phoenix.
And the big step for Matt Danson. And once again, Kerr's going to get back to the inside. He's going to harass him. This is just going to allow Wayne Burke to drive his way up to the pair of them. And Kerr just couldn't quite get the momentum put down as they come off a 1 and 2.
Absolutely. This must be amazing to see if you're Wayne Burke here behind. Let the two guys at the front fight each other. If something happens, you're the big beneficiary. Just avoid the wreck, make your way through. And if you're looking at them fight this hard, then it's, oh, tires. Tires are going to be going.
Have a look.
Later on.
Have a look at the line that Zach Kerr ran on the mid corner. He was making sure he was not aero affected by Brad Newman. There would be one best line through the corner, surely. But that line does move itself around the racetrack. A little bit of a wiggle from Zach Kerr on the run to 3 and 4. Burke now lines him up, gets to that rear bumper. Drive off was an advantage of Zach Kerr. So the mid-corner rotation's good. Newman's going to try and cover him towards the bottom. He says, all right, you got the nose down there. Now you're going to try and stick the landing. And there's a little bit of banking assistance on the higher side. Newman gets the drive off once more. And again, Burke will continue to watch. Where has Danson got back to? Up to 7th. Got his way past Tyler Williams. D-Mac will be the next victim of the 30 from Altus Engineering. I tell you, Bryce, there was a couple cautions in the middle there, but we did run 15 laps or so on those tyres. There's enough out of those tyres that that could be the right strategy.
Absolutely. We did, we ran a fair few laps, actually, before we got caution. I think we ran, I'd say, at least 12 to 15. Definitely enough to have put some wear on the tyres. Good standing that Matt Danson's found himself in. Fresher set. Has to go to the end here. Really wants a green flag run. Green flag run right now would be perfect. Raise a question mark as to whether these front guys are going to make them. We had a couple of cautions now since they've refilled. Should have been able to save just enough. But if they're running at a bit of a breakneck speed, then you have to start wondering if they're going to make it.
I think they'll be okay, and it'll be just all about preserving the lead right now and looking after the tyre. Again, have a look at the guys moving around. Look at Dave Douglas, who uses quite a wide line compared to the rest of the Nickelmore. Remember when he and Mackenzie got together those laps ago? Well, both of them are back together again, 5th and 6th on the road.
Yeah, Mackenzie doing very well here to hold off Matt Danson, who's on the fresher tyres. Mackenzie should be on relatively fresh tyres. I believe he stopped under a recent caution. Just able to put his car in the way of Danson. Danson having to check up massively there in the mid-corner to avoid contact with the 0-2. So at the moment, Matt's progress is stalled. Have to try and figure out a way past the 0-2 before the 34 starts to give him a bit of a run for his money.
Dave Douglas is driven his way to a really nice spot. He'll be looking at this as a good points night. I'll get the feeling he might want a podium to come his way.
I feel like Dave would want a podium. He's won one of the biggest races of the year. No, not in ANC, but he did win the charity Daytona 500. So he's got a win this year under his belt. Just a win in the ANC series would mean oh so much to any of these drivers. I know it locks you not only into the playoffs at the moment, because win and you're in the system is in full effect, but also means that you have a good point standing. So when you get to the end of the season and your playoff points are being divvied up, the further you are towards the top of the standings, the more playoff points you get, means your championship run is a lot easier. Another driver who's been picking up playoff points but not necessarily having great race results, that is Ethan Winter from BBS. I think it's BBS Esports. He's picked up a couple of playoff points for pole positions here. So whilst he hasn't got a win yet, he is giving himself some early points. As we see the race, it's all settling down now, so not a lot of fighting going on. As I say that, the 34 is going to look to the inside of the 30. Not quite going to get the drive off the exit of the corner. Just seeing what real estate's on offer, what Danson's doing, where he's putting his car, what could a prospective pass look like. But at the front, looks like it's Newman's race. He's jogged out to about a second lead over the 12 of Kerr here tonight. So Brad Newman off doing his own thing right now.
Had to put a lot of pressure on him on those restarts, and just wonder whether or not that might have marked the tyre a little bit. And Burks will start to stretch back just a touch from him as well. Focused margin is that top 5 is actually Dave Douglas to Wayne Burks. So Douglas is starting to come back at him a little bit.
Yeah, it is. You'll see the green machine, number 10, make his way towards the 89 lap by lap. If I'm trying to put myself in the head of Dave Douglas right now, I'm thinking, okay, where are you putting this car into the corners? What's your normal line? How can I get you out somewhere you're not comfortably running? Where can I put your car to give it a little bit of a slide so you have to check your momentum and I can make my pass easier? So that's what's going through Dave Douglas's head right now. He'll be very patient. He's a very patient driver. He'll pick a time where he's comfortable to go for this move. Right now you can see he's happy just to put the pressure on and sit on the rear bumper.
Just watch the difference in the way these two cars drive the corner as well. This is a difference in setups. This is Toyota Camry on board from Dave Douglas, and a Chevy Camaro he's had to check up because Wayne Burke was like, I was just about to say, the biggest thing I'm seeing from that 89 car right now on Burke's is that he is driving it off that right rear corner, whereas Douglas just seems to have a lot more neutral race car. You can just see, look at how much more he can turn the car down. He's got trust. Doesn't help with the banking, a loss of grip towards the middle and bottom of that racetrack off the turn too. But watch this middle point of the corner. Burke has struggled, then he sorts of this exit part of turn 3 and 4. He gets the balance back underneath him. Whereas Dave's a little bit weak on entry, but the middle and exit he's good, and that's forced a change from Wayne Burke because he's just got to drive a different line. Watch how Douglas is just going to turn down underneath him, point and shoot the car now. Looking for that little bit of drive. Now he's got to touch an overlap. So that's worked. Dave Douglas did something a little bit different. Burke did something a little bit different. And Wayne Burke might just give this one up. Indeed he has. And that's heads-up driving for both of them there. They recognise different phases of the run, different phases of the race. And Dave Douglas will appreciate that. And he'll find a way to pay that back later on in the season, I'm sure. The next time he's racing Wayne Burke, he might just lift a little early.
Yeah, definitely good heads-up driving there from the 89. You see the 02 now making a move towards the 31. Matt Danson's run has completely stalled. We wonder if Matt's moving into a bit of tyre conservation mode, see if he can make the tyres last longer, and as the difference becomes even larger as these front runners' tyres get older and older, more worn down, he'll be able to make some moves later in the race.
Tyler Williams will be the driver I'll be looking for an onboard from if we can. And the reason for that is I want to just have a look at the 3 lanes of air just ahead of it. And Mickelmore was all the way to the bottom. And he slots in behind Burke, and Douglas was a little bit further up the track. And actually, they're tracking down Zach Kerr now as well. This entire pack is trending forwards, except for Zach Kerr and Wayne Burke. They are trending backwards. And Mickelmore's got to the outside here of Darren McKenzie. McKenzie's going to shove the nose in as they get down on 1 and 2. Mickelmore had to change lanes last second. McKenzie's got great drive off the bottom at the moment. He is driving that car very nicely and very accurately. And Danson will be conserving those tyres. Why? Because there's nowhere for him to go right now. So you can't really push on. He'll be sitting there waiting for an overlap. Well, now he's got it. Because McKenzie struggled for a little bit of drive. Does he swap to McKenzie's inside? No, again. And McKenzie dives it in late on the brakes. And look at the attitude in the race car at the moment. So a bunch of different drivers, a bunch of different styles. And there is one of the widest short tracks you'll find in operation, and what it does to drivers in different ways they go about setting their car up, Bryce.
Absolutely. You can see, there it goes.
D-Mac manages to hang on to it. Tyler Williams picks up 2 for 1.
That is pucker factor there for Matt Danson. You do not want to touch that car and send them around. That's a guaranteed caution if he touches there. Darren McKenzie, as we said, he's driving aggressive. Definitely putting a strain on those tyres. Not going to be nursing those ones to the end of this race. That's for damn sure.
Yep. Now Tom Freer will find his way by. And Mackenzie pit under the previous cautions. Remember how we had a bunch of cautions back to back to back? Well, the previous caution to when Dance and the rest of the guys come down, Darren Mackenzie did come down. So the age on those tyres, there would be no age on those tyres. There'd be no differential. It was all under caution period, but different ways to driving this racetrack. And it's such a big feat for Phoenix. As we come up to start lap number 100.
50 more laps remaining, Scotty.
It's actually 51, bro.
51. No, yeah, 51. I'm bad at...
51 laps to go. We are starting the 100th lap. At the conclusion of the 100th lap,
it'll be 50 to go. Yes. In about 17 seconds, probably about 10 seconds time. Because Brad Newman's about to go cross that line, start lap 101. Set, and 3, 2, 1. There we go.
Now you're right.
Now I'm right. 50 laps to go. Thank you, Brad, for making your way around another lap and making me right. Yeah, thank you. Perfect stuff there. But we see the 34 and the 31 going at a couple of cars in the 30 number digits. 31, 34. Ooh,
and Matt Dance, once again, going to show the nose. He's definitely looking the best of the cars that were in this pack. And he's going to try and see if he can get to the inside. Williams very wide on the entry and middle. It's 1 and 2. Up and in the marbles, there's cars just about everywhere in this little battle pack. All the way up. This runs all the way down to 10th, just outside of it. Stevie Williams in 11th at the moment.
You can see Tom Freer, a new entrant to the series, obviously with 2 drivers withdrawing the 31st and 32nd finishes of the ANC qualifying series, got the invite up. Tom Freer being one of those drivers, he's currently running in the top 10. Very good opening drive for him this season. Missed out on Daytona, would have probably loved to get out there for the Super Speedway, but Phoenix isn't a bad second track. It's a bit of a procession at the moment, Scotty.
No, I wouldn't say it's a procession. I think there's a fair bit going on.
A bit. Further on back, there's definitely some more single file, and everyone's just racing their own race, more focusing on the track. At the front, it's all close quarters. Brad Newman is just hot lapping at this point. 3 seconds clear of Zach Kerr. There's Matt Danson making a move.
Finally gets to the inside of Tyler Williams, and he just can't keep it there. So as the rubber starts to fade, the ability to race side by side starts to go away just a touch. Now you're waiting, relying on mistakes from a few different drivers. Again, everyone using every skerrick of the racetrack available to them.
Mackenzie tagging the wall there, so using every inch and then some.
And just watching, the benefit of this is that you all get to sit along at home and watch the seeing and soaring of this. You go for a move, as Matt Danson did. Well, you're going to lose a little momentum, you fall a little bit off. That in turn makes you vulnerable. And now we're right on board with Tom Freer. And Tyler Williams had a little bit of a crack at Josh Micklemore, so he'll lose a touch of momentum off the exit here.
Tom Freer is going to get a run down into turn 1, so he'll get alongside Matt Danson, side by side. Danson's able to use a little bit of that banking on the outside line to keep the momentum. Tom Freer drops the throttle out, not able to extend, loses the momentum down the place. And go back.
And therein lies the difficulty of getting an overtake on a long run at Phoenix. It takes a very long time to set somebody up sometimes.
Got to make it work.
Laps start to dwindle away, 43 of them left. 43 miles. Peak lap times, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, fastest lap of the night, 27.309, Brad Newman. Well, he's fallen off over a second. He's now 1.2 seconds slower on his fastest lap time. And again, this battle pack's just not really going anywhere.
Not going anywhere, but they're jockeying for position, something fierce right now. They all want to make a move. It's just Who has the grip to make it work?
Oh, there was nearly overlap right there on the mid corner for Danson.
He hasn't quite got the legs to get past the 34 though. It's just he's there. He's so close. Just needs to hang on and get a little bit of overlap, keep it through the corner, and then work his way past. Next one, we're gonna see a good chance here as he takes the outside wall.
And then Williams is a touch loose on the brakes as well as he slides it in. And Wayne Burke files to pit lane, so the guys up front can't make it on fuel. Which means that if that's the case, Matt Danson will lead the race on the effective strategy.
Maybe that's why Danson hasn't made a move yet.
And worthwhile thinking at the moment is that Micklemore, that leads this little battle pack now that Wayne Burke's dived out of it, will not make the end on fuel by the numbers we've been given. Now, the question will be, is how much fuel the guys up ahead of them are saving? Once that initial run broke down a little bit, some of them might have kicked on over to a little bit of fuel saving just to try and extend, maybe try and make the distance home. It'll be tight. It'll be very tight. We've got a fuel race here at Phoenix. Short tracks, you'd think short tempers, but it might be short on the mileage.
I think a fuel race at a short track is probably the most exciting thing you can do. I know you and I have been down and experienced.
And Danson this time's got to the outside of Tyler Williams. So now he's going to go and pick it off. Caution's out. So it won't be a fuel race. The whole field will pit. And the strategy just got played a bum card. Bum deal for Lachlan Mead. And his night is over. And it's going to be contact with Newman. So hang on, as they come back up the road. Whoa! So that's a unique one. And therein is the danger and the difficulty. Newman expected Lachlan Mead to be at the fence. Newman's going to have damage. In fact, Newman doesn't even lead the race on a pit lane. That'll be Zach Kerr. No.
That's heavy damage there for Newman. Hard into that right front tire. Watch it there.
Him to be higher.
Bang. He did.
They're all in. Newman's got a lot of damage to the front of his hot rod.
That's a big moment. That's a big storyline here in this race.
Well, he's going to be down a ton of front end downforce. So, for the meantime, Zach Kerr is going to be inheriting the race lead. But for Newman had such a big lead. He didn't need to be aggressive with the traffic.
No, it's I feel like it's just expecting you to get out the way kind of thing. Just get out. That's a lot of either that's the steering offset or that's some nice damage. I'd like to say that's the steering offset.
He's going to take damage. He's got time. He's got a fair bit of time because he's at the front of the pit lane. He was second in the queue to join. So he will get a little bit longer. He'll probably be able to get the bulk of that cleaned off. But that's going to change a bunch of different bits and pieces. Dave Douglas moves his way out to P2. Josh Micklemore goes to third. Matt Danson's going to be fourth. Danson was going to be the effective leader on strategy. And for Zach Kerr, this is what his ride on board looks like on the way towards. Lachlan Mead will be keeping an eye out for.
Number 19. That's Lachlan at number 1.
Oh. There's a fair bit that went on here.
That's a block there from the 19.
There's a lot. So the end of that is absolutely blind spot racing. That's you see that all the time at Phoenix, and Lachlan Mead to put end to that one. Mead's engine actually blew up at the end of that incident, so he will take no further part in tonight's racing.
Race goes off.
But there was a fair bit that went on. Change everything that's going on here. Newman will rejoin the tail end of the field, but he's going to have damage to the front end of that race car. And he's going to have to fight his way back through. It is going to change the whole course of the night. He's dominated thus far. Now he's going to come from the rear. Now he's going to damage race car. And Zach Kerr gets an opportunity to lead it. Matt Danson touches the wall on the way into 1 and 2. We're inside. 34 laps to go. This time past the stripe. It'll be 33 laps to go. We are running out of time at Phoenix. And it is gone from being a strategy race to it is now back on. They are going to have to fight it out on track. Dave Douglas loses a spot to Josh Mickelmore. Still the two Nitro drivers, second and third on the road. Danson trying to go the long way around of Tyler Williams. Who's got the tyre life? Underneath them will be a big, big key. Williams tries to hang on to it. Danson gets the drive off the exit of 2. Now Dave Douglas looks for the crisscross. He's looking for second. And there's a car around the back. Maybe. No, got away with it. No caution, will stay green.
Shout out to Trevor Mickelmore in the chat saying he's awake now. First person to chat in the YouTube chat all night. Welcome, Trevor. Assume family member of Josh Mickelmore up here in 4th position. Currently looking for a podium here tonight at Phoenix. Matt Danson can say anything about it. I don't think he'll be walking away with any silverware. He's pushed through.
So Matt Danson will clear Mickelmore on the entry to turn 3.
Mickelmore tagging the wall there. Going to be under threat now from 34.
He's going to lose the momentum. Williams going to try and get the run to the inside. 34 machine's driven very well here tonight if Tyler Williams. You'll be very, very happy with the way that this one has gone. Up here fighting it out with the big boys.
Absolutely. Mickelmore managing to hold on to that outside, though. All the way around turn 3 just going to get beaten out here as they cross the stripe by smallest of margins here. So it's on for young and old between the Nitro Racing driver and Tyler J. Williams. What team are you a part of? Let me rack my brain and figure that one out. Tyler J. Williams, privateer. Doesn't have team affiliation. I think that's just on his SDK.
And now D-Mac is going to send it to the inside of Mickelmore. So Mickelmore, remember, got up to 2nd spot. Since then, he's not been able to get the inside. The last time he entered 3 and 4, he was out in the marbles. He lost grip on that right front tyre. Couldn't turn the car down the racetrack. Couldn't get into the gas either. A touch of damage to the left rear corner of Darren McKenzie's car as well means that he is not sitting on a pretty hot rod at the moment either. And he is trying to gather all he can. Can't quite keep the car underneath him. Finally, Mickelmore will get clear. He can try and get back to the bottom, but McKenzie's going to deny him that. And McKenzie's loose. McKenzie's very loose running back up the racetrack.
Squirrely all the way up the racetrack there from Darren McKenzie. See if he has another shot down the back straight. Looks down to the inside, tries to build the momentum. Not quite enough, just a little bit loose. You can see the car fishtail a little bit for both of them as well. Mickelmore had it just up the high side, luckily not to tag the wall. Both of them going to run all the way up to the bank, cut the dog leg. Got the 41 of Tom Frere as well now, trying to make the best of this situation. Having a wonderful debut drive here tonight at Phoenix, I should say, Tom Frere. Greyhead's also doing very well. I'd say last week's race winner, but it was last fortnight's race winner at Daytona. So looking for another good result. His teammate, who pitted before, has made his way back up to 13th position, Scotty.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good, if you came down to pit, you have a pretty good chance, if you did it early enough, to get back into the top 10. You see the 0-2, a little bit of overlap here down the back straight, little contact, not...
Just having a little bit of a look up and down the field just to sort of see how progress was going. I can tell you, Brad Newman is no longer able to stay with the field. So that is how bent his race car is right now.
That is,
in fact,
that's unfortunate.
That's Brenton West who's just gone through in front of him. With 6 laps down.
Zach Kerr, he's got the lead of this race. He's about 8 tenths now in front of Dave Douglas.
Fastest car on the racetrack, Matt Danson. As he's going to start to do some work. And starting to run out of time. Everyone's single filed out now. Well, you say that. Immediately you get this shot of Tom Freer looking at Darren McKenzie. You just see that left-hand end of Darren McKenzie's rear isn't as straight as it once was.
I don't know, you can also see how deep Darren likes to drive it through turns 1 and 2 in comparison to Tom Freer. Just sends it in the 0-2 machine, no fear for D-Mac. Just shove it down there, but Danson is free to chase down Douglas. There's about 6/10 between those two, and they've got lap traffic in front of them now. So lap traffic impacting the 30 and the 10. Looks to be the 0-3. Not going to put up much of a fight here. Danson will clear going into turn 3 and 4. Easy stuff there. Aaron Gilbert, yep, just making way for the front runners.
One of those cars that's picked up damage with duration here tonight.
So everyone came down the pit lane, so there's no more fuel prospect.
No.
So we're looking at what is probably going to be the top 3 at this stage of the race. I think the 34 of Williams doesn't have the tyre anymore to catch back up to Danson. I feel like Douglas and Danson are both not able to close the distance on Kerr. You might see Danson and Douglas go for a bit of a battle as you see the 0-3 get into the catch fencing again. Bit of a further way down the field, we do have this battle between the 41 and the 0-2 still raging on. Greyhead's got a good view of this battle, probably the best in house. So we drive past the grandstands all the way to the... I was going to say turns 1 and 2, but turns 1 and 2 are further down the road. Going past the dogleg and strike now. Now we're at 1 and 2. There we go. You can see this battle raging on. Josh Micklemore fumbling off the back there of what looks to be Tyler J. Williams in 34. So Tyler J. Williams, an excellent drive here for him tonight. We don't talk about him enough, I think. One of the better drivers in the Australian NASCAR E-Series joins us on Tuesday and Thursday nights as well.
Yeah, having a great drive for him towards the pointy end. At the moment, holding off Josh Micklemore too. Micklemore's just recovery after just being on the outside for so long. And it was just wrong place, wrong time for him. Tried to go for a move. Didn't land in the right spot. Nothing more he could do about it. Oh, actually, Micklemore's going to tag the outside wall. We might have seen the sparks shooting off. There was a fair bit of contact for 31, so he is driving that car hard at the moment. And Douglas has got a little bit of free air at the moment. Danson's been running that margin down. He's about a 8/100ths of a second faster than on that last lap.
It's not too far away from Kerr. He's still a second behind. So if Kerr makes a mistake, still an opportunity here. But I say if he keeps his pace going, he keeps it clean, doesn't have any big moments in that race car, he should have a good chance at winning. Now, it could be some heroics from Douglas and Danson to close that gap and make this race a bit more exciting towards the end. But we should have a nice battle for second place here tonight, Scotty.
Yep. In the meantime, Danson continues to take just another little bit of a chunk out. And the big key is how the cars stick to the racetrack right at the bottom. You just see, again, Dave Douglas rotates that car up a lot sooner. Matt Danson does.
See, Danson likes to hold that middle line through 1 and 2 as well. Gets the inside on the exit. A little bit of a squirrely moment. We saw the car pitch towards the left-hand side of the screen just then. But you can see in 3 and 4, he's nice and settled down on that bottom groove. Not a lot of the dog leg, though, for Danson either. He likes to take a shallower bite than Dave Douglas does.
The next car on track that they're starting to reel back in as well, Grant Matterford, at the moment, who runs out of 20th spot. He is at 1 lap down. That'll put him to 2 laps down. Aaron Gilbert, the other in the car, at 1 lap down at this point in time. Ethan Winter, led laps, got a penalty, 2 laps down, has not been able to recover. He is stuck at 2 laps down, and with under 15 to go, there is no chance for him to get back to the lead lap.
That's unfortunate for Winter, and I'd say Holdsworth as well. Unfortunate for him again with his connection issues. It's not been the kindest to him in recent weeks. So 31 and the 02 are still going at it, hand over fist. 31 just able to hold on. He'll keep that 5th position over Mackenzie. I think P2 is ramping up as we see Mackenzie make a move for the inside. Dave Douglas is going to defend. Danson's getting squirrely on the outside. Looks for the move down to the inside of turn 3. Will get below Douglas. Has to check up. Will run him into the wall if he doesn't. Loses some momentum, but that's the battle starting to heat up for P2. P5, on the other hand, they're going side by side through the dog leg, now down into turn 1 and 2.
I'll tell you what, we just cut away from them, and both Douglas and Danson nearly got the outside wall. They both got up and into the marbles on the entry to 1 and 2. So both of them are driving the entry to 1 and 2 quite hard now. And now Danson's going to change the way that he tackles 3 and 4. Elects for that wider entry. And then look at Douglas. Starts to get a little bit squirrely. Under 10 to go. 9 more laps left to run. So time is starting to run out. Grant Matterford, the lap car, is going to play a little bit of a part of this battle. He's just going to clamp Douglas's momentum on the entry, and he's going to clamp Danson's momentum on the exit. That'll open the margin up 0.3 of a second. It'll be 8 more to go at the stripe. And Micklemore and Mackenzie has resolved itself in favour of Darren Mackenzie. And now Tom Free is starting to have a go at the 31 machine.
Danson's fallen back a couple of tenths here now on Douglas. So at this point, might be the battle over for P2. 8 laps to go. We'll see what Danson can do. Looks like 6/10 the gap now.
Yeah, that'll be race over between those two. You're not going to run that down to get a pass done.
Not without a bit of a squirrely moment from the number 10. He's quite consistent. Only 5/10 roughly around now, about 5.5 tenths. See 6 getting a better drive than the 41 onto the back straight. Will he look for a move on his teammate? Yes, down to the inside. Goes great head on his teammate Tom Frere. He'll clear him by the exit and he'll get past it. We see just a little bit further back. That's Ethan Winter, currently a few laps down, but still performing well. Unfortunate black flag for him tonight. Still not too sure on the reason why for that one, Scotty, but definitely have to go back and look at that one later, as he was doing quite well up the front of the field.
Yep. And to trickle out, 5 to go. Great head. Gonna try and have a crack. Micklemore will get to the inside. Micklemore just cannot get that. That car just, it's no longer turning for him. So fronts have gone. As we see the 2 Chevys go toe-to-toe. Oh, and Greathead runs up the track. That's the second time Micklemore's been run into at the entry to 3 and 4 tonight. And for Lewis Greathead, it's going to earn him a spot. Micklemore, does he take this back straight away? Well, he's got to defend from Tom Freer. So with the 2 teammates to the inside for Million Esports. If Micklemore can get clear of Freer, he might look to pay him back on the last lap. If he can get there. If he can get there will be the big key.
Yeah, at the moment, he's too far back to give anything back to the number 6 for a little bit of that door into turns 3 and 4.
We've lost Matt Danson.
Matt Danson has disappeared. Down, he's showing
now Matt
19.
Dropped out of the server. Tyler Williams is now in 3rd spot. No.
That's not a way to lose a podium. Well, if you're Tyler Williams, you're not going to complain too much about it. Yeah, definitely, a podium's a podium, and he's been running very well all night, so it's not undeserved. Maybe not the way you'd want to earn it as a driver. You definitely want to take that overtake and go for it. But this is unfortunate. The white flag comes out. Final lap of the race. Zach Kerr, all but uncontested from here to the stripe, has the lap traffic of Brad Newman, who's going to slide to the outside. Should let the 12 go by here.
Newman's got no front tires left on that thing. Well, the white flag's in the air, and that means this race will end. We will not get NASCAR overtime here in Phoenix. Newman dominates the race. Zach Kerr gets lucky in Phoenix.
There you go, Zach Kerr. Dave Douglas crosses the line in P2. Good result for the number 10 Nitro machine. Got Tyler J. Williams in the 34 car rounding out your podium here tonight. 19 positions gained over the evening. Brad Newman giving a little bit of a rev there to Zach Kerr as he brings it down the back straight. Looking to earn some rubber once he gets to the stripe. But Scotty, a race here at Phoenix had just about everything I was expecting from it here tonight. Cautions, contact, drama. Couldn't ask for anything more, really.
Yeah, and 150 laps worth at Phoenix. And Zach Kerr, he's going to get to light it up underneath the cactus. And he will get to celebrate. Just barely keeps the car off the wall in doing so as well. That was a win that he probably wasn't expecting. He was thinking it might be close here tonight, but he is going to take it out. 2 races, 2 winners that weren't necessarily expected to be there at the end. On the Australian NASCAR E-Series has lit it up to start off with 2 fiery races for the first 2 rounds. Confirmation, Zach Kerr gets the win by 2.1 seconds over Dave Douglas, who had an opportunity, had some time when he was running towards the pointy end. Tyler Williams keeps the car clean, keeps the tyres on it, gets into 3rd spot. Darren McKenzie manages to get home in 4th as well. Lewis Greathead, last week's winner, picks up P5 here. All important points running in his direction, which will probably actually extend the points lead for him. He'll be sitting in a really, really good spot right now. Josh Micklemore strong in that final run at the front end of the run, but fell off, just could not get into the groove as the run went on. Stevie Williams back inside the top 10. Jamie Ritchie-Price in 2nd place from last week was Wayne Burke, rounds out your top 10. He was quick. Wrong cycle of pit stops, unfortunately, for Wayne Burke. Was going to run out of fuel, not make the line, so he opted to come down early. It was, in fact, just too early because the caution flag would drop. Jared Fowler, Shane Bowen, Sam Chapman, Eric Sheridan, and Henry King, the top 15. Sam Smith, Brad Newman, just outside of the lead lap. For him, Aaron Gilbert also off the lead lap, both of those guys at 1 lap down. Grant Matterford from Ethan Winter and Jason Holdsworth, all at -2. Matt Danson drops out of the server just before the end, 5 down. Bronson West at 6 down. Lachlan Mead blew the engine with contact with race leader Brad Newman. That will be controversial. Keep an eye on that one. That wasn't too happy from both of those drivers. 38 laps down for him. Fitzroy Beaumont, 83 in 25th spot. Oh boy, Bryce, that one had it all, and I think surprised the pants off a few of us. So without further ado, let me jump straight into post-race interviews with guy who gets it home in P number 3. Tyler Williams. Strong run here tonight. Lots of luck involved, but hey, P3. And, well, now you got to figure out how to get that damn telemetry in.
Yeah, thanks, guys. The number 34 Slipstream Science Toyota Supra from Racecraft Academy was pretty good tonight. I wasn't really expecting to be in this position. Like, I was, from starting 22nd, just tried to just keep a clear head and just keep like my race smooth. I just gained a lot of spots up as we were as the run was going on, and got lucky with those cautions and whatnot. So Yeah, it just all played out really well at the end, and I'm very happy. I was just hoping for a top 10, but a podium will be good. So yeah, I'm just stoked about it. I'm at a loss for words as well.
I mean, big result here at the Deserts of Phoenix. I mean, it was tough getting passes done, and there was an opportunity there at when Darren McKenzie made a mistake that it held up Matt Danson. You had to be brave to go around the outside when you see a bunch of smoke in a car sideways, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was just like so. It's one of those things. It was just right place, right time. I just happened to be on the outside. Mackenzie just got kind of half spun. I think he got half spun as well, like early in the run with Josh, and I gained kind of the same thing happened where I was on the outside and I could just just go for the open gap and just hope that they didn't grip spin back up the track. But like that's just racing sometimes. Like you can run those situations 100 times, and 50% of the time you'll make it through. The other 50% you won't. But it was just lucky tonight.
Mate, finally, who would you like to give a thank you and a shout out to for bringing this one home in P3?
I want to say a big shout out to my mum and dad. My dad's been giving me a lot of grief saying that I haven't been getting any podiums, so I hope I shut him up now. Slipstream Signs, I want to thank my sponsors. Racecraft, Blake Reynolds, he's been helping me a lot, getting better. Apex PCs, Apex Action Photography, Apex Hunters, a lot of Apexes there. Next Level Racing, and yeah, just want to thank all the admins and the commentators, everyone who's put this together. This is an awesome series we got going on, and I can't wait for the next race in 2 weeks.
Hey, congratulations on P3 here tonight. Go off and enjoy with the boys.
Cheers.
We'll take one step further forward where Bryce is going to be chatting to P2's Dave Douglas.
So we'll just get Davey up into the commentary box. Dave Douglas, out of the booth on Thursday night from commentating the truck race, step into the office here tonight for ANC, walk away with a P2. How are you feeling?
Yeah, pretty good. Bit sweaty, after working a bit hard, like dancing and those boys out there keep you honest. So yeah, you got to be on it and hit your marks. And I feel like I ran a pretty good race. So P2 is where it's at.
Absolutely. It looked like a very pleasant car to drive here tonight. How much work has been put into that setup over the week just to get it fine-tuned here for ANC tonight? Yeah,
as you know, like the guys, they'll just tinker away throughout the whole week, and then we put some laps in today and yesterday, and just throughout the whole week. So whenever anyone is free, we just come and turn some laps and make tweaks as we need them, and put the best foot forward and see what we come up with. And it wasn't too bad. Yeah, it ran pretty good. Looked after the tyres pretty well. So yeah, happy with that.
Absolutely. As I said before, it looks very comfortable out there in that number 10 green Nitro machine.
That's good, man. I like that.
Well, with that being said, is there anyone you'd like to thank here for tonight for your podium? Any sponsors, friends, family that you need to give a quick shout out to here on the broadcast?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, shout out to the team, Nitro Racing, Jason and all the guys over there that helped the Americans get in amongst it as well. So really appreciate those guys helping out and keeping me calm when I'm losing it under cautions or whatever else. So they're good. So the team environment's fun. And I guess, yeah, the Motorsport Australia for letting us put this on, and the guys that organise it, and the broadcast team, all the admins that go into all this work. So shout out to those guys and anyone that's watching, and I hope they enjoyed it, and hopefully we put on a good show. It was fun.
It was wonderful watching you guys race as always. Definitely some good hard racing whenever you're up there in the top 10. Congratulations on the P2 finish, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time at Auto Club.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
No worries. See you, David.
See you, mate.
And finally, we'll step forward and chat to tonight's race winner. Driving the number 12 Ford Mustang, Zach Kerr, gets it done, buddy. That one, you got a lot of luck, but the pace was there. You were good enough for P2. It was going to be very, very difficult running down Brad Newman, then all of a sudden, everything just lands in your lap.
I was very lucky for that to all happen. Brad definitely had, I think, better long-run pace than me, but it would have been cool to see at the end if we would have had a good fight or not.
Mate, in terms of things here tonight, couple cautions in that middle stage of the race. Talk to me about that run before that final caution. We were all sitting here going, man, it's tight on fuel. These guys are going to be super tight. We actually saw Wayne Burke pit Were you good on fuel or not?
I was bad by I think a gallon and a half, which I tried saving to begin with by clutching and everything, which is why I dropped off the back of Brad so much. And it just still wasn't enough to save and make it to the end.
So you were just hanging on by the skin of your teeth and just hoping. Well, sometimes you got to be good and lucky, and normally you save that kind of luck for Vegas. So don't go gambling when we head to Vegas later in the season. Yeah.
I'll try not to.
Mate, congratulations on the race win here tonight. Who would you like to give a thank you to?
Just a massive thanks to the whole Nexus Esports group for bringing me on for this year, and as well as P1 Docs for coming onto the car. Being able to represent them with these good setups is very good.
Mate, congratulations. Go off and celebrate. Remember, you've scored yourself a playoff ticket. Driver number 2 from 2 races. Congratulations, mate.
Thank you.
Well, Bryce, that is going to wrap us up here from the deserts at Phoenix. The cactus lit up in green, it lit up in yellow, and we all had a stunning time up here, but that was not how I had that one going, and I don't think you had it going that way either.
Oh, most definitely not. That was a couple of good curveballs in there, kept it interesting. Definitely the usual suspects up the front. Interesting to see where BBS Esports go from here. They've had some really good qualifying pace, but struggled in the races. That's a big thing I'll be watching for in a couple of weeks at Auto Club. So plenty of things to look forward to here in the Australian NASCAR Championships.
Where we're going to be heading 2 weeks' time, Sunday, March 16th, 8 p.m. here over on YouTube and the Facebook page. We will be running 100 laps from Auto Club. It's the 2 mile up, and we will be running 200 miles on that occasion, and it'll be back 2 weeks later after that one. In the meantime, enjoy some pictures of Zach Kerr celebrating in style. That was the runoff of turn 4 to the checkered flag, and a few drivers did well out here tonight. Some found the barriers, some got a taste of short track racing. What will happen when we head to the wide open old racetrack that is Auto Club? It's now being torn down. Hopefully they get themselves a short track set up over in Fontana. But will it be sunny skies? Will it be stormy weather? Only you can find out 2 weeks' time when we go racing for the Australian NASCAR Championship, brought to you by Motorsports Australia Esports. We'll see you all then.